It's not true. I was gonna say it is Saturday, so it's spa day, and spa day is any day I feel like it. And today I felt like I woke up a couple of times in the middle of the night. I don't even know why. It just happened. So I'm wearing the maskies under the eyes, and then my self-conscious spot I've mentioned before. I don't like having my hair out on both sides. What are we doing today? We're playing Tears of the Kingdom and doing some more side quests, maybe some shrines along the way. I'm aiming for 4 adventures, 4 quests at least. I don't care about that. Anyways, let's see if we can figure some of these riddles out. That's what I titled it riddles, because a lot of them are kind of like riddles that you got to figure out. Like, the one that I'm starting with is Treasures of the Secret Springs, unless I find it too hard. But it's talking about hot springs in the mountains, guide 3 waters to that place. When it fills, the slumbering treasure will awaken once more. And secret hot springs is north. Ooh. Y'all, I've said this before, and I'm going to continue saying it because it is the truth. English is my second language, which means I get a free pass in bad pronunciation. Y'all can say no, but I'm going to take this pass. I'm going to take it for myself because, again, English is my second language. I didn't learn English till I was 7, so I get to mispronounce things sometimes. Is it an excuse? Yes. Am I going to stop using it? No. I'm going to take my excuse and I'm running with it. Okay, so northwest of Rito Village, but just where could the treasure mentioned be hidden? So let's look at, what do we find? Why am I, oh, because I'm home. Okay, northwest of Rito. So north is up, west is this way. I'm going, unless it's here. No, those don't look like sacred springs. Because I am assuming, these are my assumptions, that it has to be one of these. Because the hot springs generally seem to be this color. And we can see that by going to here in the mountains. We could see that this is generally the color of the hottie springs. So we're going to travel to the tower. How is everybody's weekend? I hope it's great. It's hot. The day in and of itself is not hot. It's just suffocating because air doesn't, like, ventilation isn't the greatest upstairs for us. Let me look at the map. Do I want to, yeah, I'm gonna use the tower for the purposes of flying. I'm getting to where I need to go faster. So, I should put some clothes on that are better for this. There we go. Better for this environment. And we are headed towards, let's see. We seem to be going in the wrong direction right now. What about now? You know what I just realized? Obviously you don't know. That's a bad habit and I really want to get over it. Saying you know, like using you know as a starter to a conversation. You don't know because you can't read my mind. I forgot to call my brother and tell him about what happened yesterday. Which unfortunate because now it's not as like, well, it wasn't that relevant before, but now it's just not as present moment. Like, you're not gonna believe what happened. I think he has actually taken on the kingly yacht, and more power to him because, well, he also has more hearts than Because he also has been playing more. He takes his Switch to work. So, I mean, I work on with my Switch, so I guess to a certain degree, I'm not that far off from being able to accomplish what he has accomplished. But I was about to say, why is it not fixing my hearts or anything? But then I realized it can't fix something that's not broken. From a certain perspective, I guess you could say that I should be able to be at the same level or place as my brother, but I haven't wanted to finish the game, which is something that he has done. And the other thing is, I do have the limitation where, why are y'all coming at me? Don't come at me. I'm not interested in you. I mean, let's go. I won't stand down from a fight. Yeah, I thought so. He'll stay up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, as we found out on yesterday's game. Did I mention it? I don't think I did. I might have. I don't remember. Anyways, I might have mentioned that I had to change some passwords. And that I didn't think it was him because it was like at 3 o'clock in the morning or something. And he got a job, so I assumed it wouldn't have been him. And then when I texted him about it, he was asking me for a password. I said, oh, yeah, I had to change it because of what happened. And he was like, oh, no, it was me. So he'll stay up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning playing. And even though I've done that like once or twice, he does it. He's been doing it regularly. And I'm kind of just not about that. I like my sleep. And also, I already struggle with the fact that I have these ridiculous dark circles. He's much more clear than I am, so you can't notice his dark circles as much as you can notice mine. I don't think this is gonna work, but I've already stuck them together like this, so I'm just gonna give it a try. Unless it falls backwards. Watch it fall backwards. I think it's gonna fall backwards. Oh no, it fell forward. Well then. You know, I never read the instructions for these patches, so I actually don't know how long I'm supposed to keep them on for. But anyways, I really don't need another sleeping thing, to be frank. So, I'm gonna leave you alone. Now then. I need to figure out if this is where I'm supposed to be at, and if I'm supposed to make this drain to somewhere. Discovery. What's down here? Is that a chest? Okay, so I should be able to get in here somehow. Oh, okay. I'm not interested in it though. Thank you. You could stay there. Do I have some? Yes, perfect. notice that. Oh, wow, okay. I didn't even... I would have done it, but, I would have done it on purpose, but I did it on accident. What? Yes, fine. Then what's in here? Just some mushrooms. And what is in here? Whoa. Hardy truffles! Big hardy truffle. And I guess I'll take the chill shrooms. I don't. Hardy truffle! Alright, that's it. There's nothing else here. Should I just go up? No, go back. I'm gonna retrace my steps. Backtracks. Take these guys off. Leave these guys on. So... If you happen to listen to my random rambles and slight commentaries inside of my videos, you may not be surprised, you might not be surprised to know that I am relatively red pill aware and adjacent, and I was recently watching, what was I watching? Well, actually I heard this from both and I found it annoying. So both on Just Pearly Things and Fresh and Fit, there were women saying that men feel intimidated when, I guess in summary, we'll say it in summary. They didn't say it directly like this, but in summary, that men were intimidated by women who are like boss babes, like they make money and all of these other things. And I think that's dumb. I would say, in general, from what anecdotally, from what I have seen, it is not that men feel intimidated. And the fact that there are people propagating this narrative is rather destructive because they genuinely believe these things. Oh, I'm back to the beginning? Okay. And I find that to be problematic towards the propagation of the species if you take into consideration that we're going to constantly and consistently be at each other's throats if, at a minimum, one side of the population is believing these things. And also there exists the possibility that when you keep saying these things over and over again, the other half of the population might start also believing it. And it is my anecdotal perspective that it's not that men are intimidated by women's money, women's success, women's intelligence, what they want to call intelligence, but it's my personal perspective. Not to downplay anybody's intelligence or education, but anyways, there is a certain type of attitude that often comes with a certain level of success, especially in women. There is a certain demeanor, entitlement, and a way that you carry yourself when you've attained a certain level of success that you've been fed the narrative is outside of what is possible or capable for women. So when you think and when you perceive that you are in a battle, that you're battling against someone for something, and that you're oppressed or that you don't get equal opportunities, you develop a certain kind of demeanor when you achieve certain successes. There's a certain let me show you that I actually can. There's a certain obnoxiousness to it, where you carry yourself in a somewhat obnoxious way of proving yourself, as if the people that you're dealing with, namely men, have discredited you, have done anything themselves directly, personally, to minimize any accomplishment or possibility of accomplishments that you may have attained, even if that man has absolutely nothing to do with whatever perceived struggles you have. Or, as I said, perceive that you have. And almost like you have a chip on your shoulder, and it's every man's fault. That attitude is what is undesirable and what may, to a degree, disqualify you from being in the prolonged presence of a specific person, man, not because he's intimidated by you, but because, let me just say it, you're annoying. It is, here's your hat back. Well, I mean, you had it on. I don't want to take anything from you. Any struggles, any problems, any extra hardships that you may or may not have encountered in your life are not the fault of guy everyman. Like, random people who have nothing to do. Okay, it wants me to put three things. Okay. Who have nothing personally, anything to do with any kind of struggles you may or may not have had, or your mom may or may not have had. So every man doesn't need to pay for the trials and tribulations that maybe possibly one man in a distant past may have subjected you or a female family member to. So when you carry that chip on your shoulder and you lead with your successes and you lead with I don't need a man, and you lead with that attitude of, you could just leave because I don't need you, it's not peaceful. It's not something that you actually want to have to deal with every day when you come home to your significant other. And I think that's a huge disconnect that women are just not getting. That it's not that men are intimidated. It is that the things that you have developed, the character traits that you have developed to become successful are rather combative. They're rather warlike, actually, like not peaceful in the slightest. And there's a certain degree of you're always trying to prove yourself in the way that you carry yourself. And if someone says these things directly to most women, they're like, I'm not trying to prove myself, I don't have to prove myself to anybody. But you may say that, but your actions are demonstrating something else. So like your words may say one thing, but your actions are doing something different. So even if you say, I don't have to prove myself to you, but you're constantly saying, well, I don't need you, I don't need a man, I can get my own bag, I have to work because I could take care of myself. When you say these things and you live in that way, your actions are actually showing that. Why did you fall? Oh, is it too windy? Might be too windy. Your actions are showing something different than what your words are saying. And I find that is something that a lot of women nowadays don't seem to grasp in the grand scheme of things. That it's not that men are intimidated, but is that they just don't want to deal with you. They don't want to constantly have to fight with someone. Like, let me put it in these terms, and I know that there's a lot of people that are gonna just like take it the wrong way, and you can never be right with everybody, so it's fine. But when you deal with kids, not calling y'all kids, but I'm just saying, like, get this in your mind. Have this visualization in your mind. When you're dealing with kids, let's say they're your kids, your relatives' kids, like a sibling's kids or something, like your nieces and nephews or your own children. And you, as the person, as the adult, understand, in general, when you tell them to do something, you love these kids. You cherish these kids. You don't want anything negative to happen to them. So when you tell them to do something, you want them to execute under the constant assumption, like there is this thing in our own mind that we have this thing where we would like kids to understand. Most people don't want to hurt kids. Most people. There are some weirdos out there. I'm not talking to you weirdos. Most people don't want to hurt kids, especially if those kids are related to them. Hold, please. So, when you tell a child that you are related to and that you love to do something or to not do something, it is under the premise in your own mind that you would not cause them harm, right? Kids don't always get that because they are kids and they haven't had the experience of having to care for someone in that way. So that's one of the ways where you'll notice that like older siblings are a little bit different because they have had the situation where they've had to I think I have to go here. Oh no, I have no more pins. Where they've had the situation that they do have the opportunity to care for someone and have someone's best interest at heart. And that doesn't always translate to the other person. So when you see people like in the red pill and stuff, like trying to explain these concepts, I think it gets lost a lot that it's not something that's done with malice. It's not an aha, gotcha moment. Like, there is a certain degree of wanting better for people that I find gets lost often in the conversation, because we get angry when we hear things like, you know, a man doesn't care about your money, a man doesn't care about your education, a man doesn't care about this or that you may be important to you, and it's not to diminish what you've accomplished, but the things that come with those accomplishments are often problematic in the sense that they're hard to deal with on the day-to-day. It is hard to deal with people that are too in their pride to, you know, to see the other side's perspective, to read between the lines of a comment or a statement, to not feel personal about every little thing. And I had to shut up and focus right there. Like, altogether, I really wish women would understand that a large percentage of men they're not intimidated by your success, your accomplishments, and things of that nature. They're just put off by the things that come, the characteristics and traits that you developed to attain said success. And I find in that same line that too many women nowadays take things that men say as, oh, they're intimidated by this. And that's not the case. It's not a case of intimidation or a case of feeling inadequate. But if you treat them disrespectfully, they're going to feel a certain type of way. And it's not about intimidation. It's like, if you're disrespecting someone, namely a man, he's not going to take very kindly to you. You don't like being disrespected as a woman. Like, people in general don't like being disrespected. Kids don't like being disrespected either. And I find that is somewhere we're missing the mark with each other. And I find that women, especially modern women these days, they've been desensitized to what genuine respect is, to the point that they don't take the time to realize that they are being severely disrespectful. And they do things and they don't think they're being disrespectful. So when somebody says something, it's like, oh, you're being sensitive, you're like, you're being way too sensitive, you're okay, that was confusing, or you're intimidated and things of that nature. You know, genuinely would don't know how I would genuinely like things to be better. I would genuinely like relationships between men and women to get better. And I don't know how we get there. Which is unfortunate. Maybe I should try a different adventure, because I don't really... At the center of the three... So if we have that one, and this one, and this one... It's not here, because it's a secret hot spring. I went there, but there's nothing there. And if we're talking at the center of the three, if we triangulate these three hot springs, it would be somewhere... The central area of it would be somewhere around here. It's a very hard triangle to deal with, because it doesn't have a very... I mean, it's kind of hard to triangulate it. Where does it end up falling? Let's try. You showed a big swirly sand. No, we ain't doing that. Let's try this one. What was... A picture of the full moon shining on the ground during daylight. They might recall if they had the volcan and tray, moon gazing. They spoke of a place where you can see the full moon shining on the ground at midday, but they can't recall how to get there. They only know that it is a lake. It is at Lake Verona in Eldon Canyon. Okay. Let's see. Eldon Mountain. Eldon Mountains. Eldon Canyon. Lake Verona. Okay. Okay, I think we should take the high ground so we could see the whole area. Oop. Will there be a diamond in here? Nope, sapphire and topaz. Take the elevator. Take the elevator. Oh, what's that over there? Oh, there are monsters over there. Oh yes, and they're sleeping. But if I could get up there... Let's sneak up on it. Can we sneak up on it? Oh no, it's awake. That's a nice freeze frame. Ah, no. Karma. It probably wasn't karma. It was probably just my bad aim. Wow, I even blew up the chest. What was that? Well, wait a minute. Did I knock one of these guys out by accident? Like, knock him down into the water? Well, that's unfortunate, because I kind of wanted his stuff. Oh well. Maybe it's like that when you're not careful. Carelessness will lead you astray every time. Alright, so up here, let's set a fire and make it daytime. So back to what I was saying about kids. So going off of the basic assumption that a child that you care about, you know, that you're related to and you care about, or not related to, or whatever, just a child that you care about. If you have them get oh my god, the guardians get on my nerves sometimes. We need it to be noon. If you're telling them things, operating off the basic understanding that you would never do anything to harm them, not on purpose, like sometimes we accidentally harm people without noticing, and it's not that you want to hurt them, it's just that you don't realize something you say may hurt them. So when a child that you love then reacts to you in a certain manner when you're around them, or when you ask them to do something, or in any context, you guys are just together and they treat you as if you would bring them harm, when you know and expect that they should know that you always only have their best interest at heart, then how would you feel? Like, how does that make you feel when you tell someone, especially, like, and I bring up children because children are some of the people on earth that we are the most selfless with, and that we more often than not care for without expectation necessarily of having a return on investment, or where at least you know that your investment is, the return on your investment is it's a diminishing return, because you as a parent are not, or aunt or uncle, you're not going to be the priority of that child when they grow up, because that's not the nature of things. Like, you know, their priority should be their partner and family. That is like that'll be like the first priority, right? So when they come at you with an attitude, or when they are disrespectful to you, or when you give them advice and they take it like you're trying to harm them, they respond to it as if you're trying to harm them. Meanwhile, you know you have their best interest at heart. It doesn't seem like it's in this direction. It's very taxing, it's very draining, it's very frustrating also to go through those types of situations, because it really just makes you think, like, don't you know that I want nothing but the best for you? So why are you... Hey PB, how are you doing today? Today I'm ranting as I play, because I got a little bit frustrated watching some Fresh and Fit and Just Pearly things. Well, yeah, because I think that a lot of it has been my perception, and I may be wrong because I do obviously have a limited scope. I don't know all women, but a lot of women that I've interacted with and a lot of women that I've observed on these, oh no, you can't be best friends. Not in the slightest. Because a best friend is gonna be with you for like doing all kinds of dumb stuff that you know you shouldn't be doing. Exactly. I don't understand why people don't see that. And another thing, and I think I've commented this on a previous I don't know if it was a rant or just like a Rumble rant or a game I was gaming and I just mentioned this, but I don't understand why people think that it's okay, this rhetoric and narrative that's happening in the world right now, where people are like, oh, well, I want to, women, okay, women, let me stop being so politically correct. They keep saying these things like, I need to be happy first, I need to find myself, and then I can have kids. That is extremely selfish. And that is counterintuitive to raising worthwhile individuals, because if you spend several decades of your life and your formative adult years focusing on your own happiness, you know the skill that you're the best at? Selfishness. So once you have kids, you have to be extremely selfless. Like, you really do. You have to be extremely selfless because it's not about you anymore. Yeah, and even when they do have them later in life, even when they are able to have them later in life, and let's say they don't have any medical complications or genetic complications, even with having them later in life, what are you teaching these kids? Because you've been selfish for 20, 30 years, and now you're bringing someone into the world. You don't have the skill set to teach them how to be selfless. It doesn't work well for parenting because you have to be selfless to raise kids that know how to have empathy, genuine empathy for others. And when people are selfish, they bring up selfish kids because that's all you know how to teach. I find that a lot of people forget that it's not about what you say, it's about what you do. It's so much more about what you do than what you say, because we don't spend every single day talking to our kids or giving them lessons. They spend more time observing us than what they spend receiving direct instructions from us. So it's like telling kids not to cuss when you cuss like a sailor on shore leave at home. I don't think that's appropriate, because that's extremely hypocritical. How do you tell someone to do something you're not doing? Unless you're also working on it, and then you're like, oh, let's work on it together. Which is really hard to do, because to say let's work on something together, you have to admit that you're wrong. And that's another thing that I notice, that a lot of people nowadays, women especially, have a hard time with saying, oh, I was mistaken in something. I tell my son all the time, I'm like, I am not perfect. I have been telling him since he was very young. I don't know everything. I may be wrong, and there are times, and I have said it to his face, like, actually not just apologized, but said, you know what this conversation we were having where you said this and I said this and I thought I was right, and it turns out that you were the one who was right. You're the one who was right. And yeah, exactly, spoiled children do become spoiled adults. And I will tell him I don't know everything, but there are also other things that I tell him, and it might be part of the military mindset where I have had to train him. And yeah, people don't like to hear that, train, oh my god, is it an animal? No, people don't immediately know what they should or shouldn't do. Like, that is taught. So I've had to train him to, like, listen to me. And even though I'll explain the why of things, because I don't want him to be a mindless drone that just does things because he's told, I've also trained him that I have his best interest at heart. And if he is questioning something that I have told him to do, he needs to execute first, ask questions later. And that is something that you're taught. Well, you used to be taught. I don't know what the military is looking like these days, but back in my day, that is something that you were taught in the army. You execute first, ask questions later. You don't necessarily don't ask questions, but you have to find the appropriate time to ask questions. You know, when you're in the midst of a moment and like a parent grabs the child's hand and says run, that is not the time for a child to be questioning you. They need to just do what you're telling them to do. But that is also that's also something that comes with a certain level of trust. And I unfortunately find that a lot of kids these days don't trust their parents. And I can't tell you where that's coming from, but they have, it's like they don't feel secure. Because you'll see kids, when kids feel secure with their parents, like safe, genuinely safe, they don't, even while they're asking a question, they're executing. Like, I'm gonna ask a question because I want to know why, but I'm still gonna do what you're telling me to do. Oh yeah, because it's so globalized now, everybody thinks that they can give their 2 cents. I definitely agree. A lot of people question your methods without, one, figuring out the pros and the cons, and two, giving a better alternative. And then you have a large swath of society just being like, I may have pronounced that wrong, but again, as I love to say, English is my second language. Well, because they want validation. It's become a very, very steeply rooted belief where it's like you have to have validation for what you're doing, and it's a very problematic way of leading your life. I agree. I think too many parents don't watch what their kids watch. My son doesn't have any of his own accounts. Everything is under my account, and I randomly, and he's about to be 12, and I randomly get on it, and I'm like, I'm gonna check your history. Be aware that I will consistently be randomly checking your history. But a large swath of the population does, you know what? It can be summarized quite easily. Common sense is not that common. And critical thinking is another one that's not that common anymore. It really is, because there's a certain level where you have to understand everybody's not going to have your best interest at heart. Where is this shrine? I don't see it. Everybody's not going to have your best interest at heart, so there will be a lot of advice that people give that is not conducive to the best kind of lifestyle, because they may just, not even just jealous. Like, a lot of people think, oh, it's because they're jealous. It may not always be about jealousy. It may be from a point of ignorance. Like, sometimes things are from people are coming at you from like a point of ignorance, and it's not necessarily that they're malicious in their intent, they're just ignorant. And I mean, ignorance is terrible. I also think people get very offended when they hear that word, because people don't seem to use dictionaries anymore. And ignorance is a lack of knowledge in a certain topic, and it's impossible to be knowledgeable about everything. There's a lot of things I'm ignorant about, and if it's a topic that I care about, I just learn. Yeah, because the thing about external validation is when you live off of that and that's all you pursue, and you don't it's not, you don't know how to operate without other people. And other people's opinions, sometimes they may be good, and sometimes they may be flawed, and you don't learn how to discern the things that you should take from other people's advice and the things that you shouldn't. But sometimes what you should take from other people is, oh, that's what I will not do. But when you're living mostly or solely for other people's approval and validation, you can't function without it. And that's a problem because people are changing. People change their minds about things all the time. So they'll validate you today for what you're saying and or doing, and then tomorrow yeah, I think that's completely, yeah, that's on point. That is on point. Education was originally a way to teach someone how to think. Now it is about teaching people what to think. And I find that to be detrimental to the successful furtherance of society. And that's not to say that there should be dissenting opinion. Dissenting opinion is what makes you think. When somebody tells you, no, your way of thinking is wrong and A, B, C, or D, you have to, well, you don't have to, you should take in the information and dissect it. Do some research. See how it stands up against your own pre-existing knowledge. Oh no, they don't. That's a lost art. That, the art of communication, effective communication, and one that is also gone, and it's really scary that it's gone, is the art of listening. Unfortunately, I find that it's a buzzword right now, like critical thinking, and it does get used a lot in the classroom, and you will hear a lot of teachers say that, oh, critical thinking, oh, you need to be a critical thinker, but they are not doing things that actually assist in that, because they're giving conflicting messages to the students. They're giving very conflicting messages to the kids. They're telling them you have to have critical thinking while at the same time indoctrinating them to a certain way of doing things, and then telling them they're wrong and pushing against them if they try to show, well, okay, I'm going to do it this way, and it still gets the result. It's something that I notice a lot in math. When teachers are teaching math, they do math the way that it was taught in college, the way that it's taught in the curriculum, the way that it's taught in their textbooks. And when a lot of kids will, maybe not so many now, but a couple of years ago when I was in the classroom, kids would come up with their own ways of understanding and getting to the same answers, and the teachers would constantly, a lot of teachers, not all, do it the way that it's taught in the book. And I find that to be very detrimental to critical thinking, because the way that we've achieved a lot of our great achievements globally, not just in America, is seeing a problem from very many different perspectives. And when you indoctrinate children at a very young age to follow the way that it's in the book, not just teach it the way that it's in the book, but like if you don't tell kids finding the answer a different way, if you're still getting the correct answer, that's not a bad thing. It can be really problematic because it takes away from the capacity to grow intellectually, to not be given the tools to accept that there may be more than one way to get to the correct answer. But yeah, as I was saying, like with math especially, you'll find that there are many teachers that they'll even get mad at the kids when the kids want to insist on doing it their way, even if it gets the correct answer every time, instead of trying to figure out how, you know, the way that the child worked it out. Nah, that's too far. We ain't doing that. You could stay here. Where does it okay, it should be in this area somewhere. Let's try it again. It needs to be noon, and it needs to look like the moon. There's one thing that I used to get really annoyed when I was going through it, and it can be very frustrating. I am not saying that I don't understand the frustration. There was something that I had to deal with for probably the first 3 years that I was in the Army. And then after that, it stopped being a problem because I kind of just changed my mentality. And it was this thing, and you hear it a lot. It gets really frustrating because it's a lot easier to just get the answers. In the Army, I used to get told all the time, figure it out. I would be given a problem and I'd have to find the solution on my own. And I don't know if it was the leadership's laziness or the leadership was actually just trying to foster critical thinking, but I was given a lot of things that I had to do and not given direct instruction on how to do it. And I would be told, I would be expected to solve the problem and just told, you know, figure it out. And I despised it. I found that to be the most annoying thing in the world. And had you talked to me about it back then, I would have constantly and consistently said that I would rather just get the answer and just get the solution, and why do I have to figure it out? You already know how to solve this problem, so why aren't you just telling me how to fix it? And what I realize now, hindsight being 2020, is that I genuinely appreciate that I had to go through that, and that I had leaders. It wasn't just one person either. It was multiple sergeants and other and NCOICs and leadership that they would tell me to figure it out. And now I'm at a point in my life where I realize there is nothing I can't do if I set my mind to it, because I will figure it out. And that's something that we don't. Yeah, some of it may have been we were short-staffed and it was kind of like they didn't necessarily know how to do it themselves, that were just giving me a task of like, I can't, not wanting to admit that they didn't know how to do it. But the result was something that I actually treasure now as part of the foundation of my being. If you don't know, figure it out. There's many ways to figure it out, like research, read a book, do a search online, find a video, talk to people that have done it, and ask questions. And while asking questions, this is another thing, this is another rant that I have, and it's another struggle that I see a lot of people having. Be humble as you're asking for assistance. Not like entitled, not with pride. The number of people that I run into that ask you for help with this air of entitlement that you just want to say like, you know what, forget you, I'm not helping you. You're not entitled to the knowledge that I've already attained through hard work. Like, it wasn't just osmosis. I didn't, like, it wasn't just inherited in my DNA. I just had this knowledge. I had to work to get to a certain knowledge, level of comprehension on a topic. So to have someone come and address me and ask for that knowledge with a sense of entitlement is humility is another thing that seems to have been lost over the last couple of decades. But I do have a lot of stories from the figure it out situation. I did end up doing a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily have accomplished otherwise. And they're great for storytelling. Like figuring out how to change out an LMTV tire by yourself when it's in the book. It says it's a minimum of a 2-man job, preferably 4. And when I was in the army, I weighed $140 soaking wet. Like I was between 135 and 140 for most of the time that I was in the army up until I was pregnant. So it wasn't like I'm this strong, buff army person. Soldier, get out. I mean, when I weighed like 100, because I'm 5'7", so when I weigh like 130, I look like a toothpick. I look like strong wind could break me in half. So to like change an LMTV tire, LMTV tires are huge. Like that tire was almost as big as I was. It probably weighed about as much. Hold on, I need to Google this now, because now I'm curious. How much does an LMTV tire weigh? $151 kilograms? How much is that in pounds? Nah, it can't have. It was that heavy. No, I don't think it was that heavy. I think that's inaccurate. Because if it was that heavy, I mean, I ended up having to use like pivots and leverage, and I had to use a lot of problem-solving skills to figure that out. But I did get it on there. My favorite part is that it wasn't even my job. It wasn't even my job. I laugh about it now, but I was so pissed off that day. Like, this is a 4-man job. That's what happens when you're short-staffed, especially in the military, especially in the army. It's like, we don't have enough people. 1 is enough. The Gale is not enough. To a certain degree, it was enough because I did get the job done, but it was not a fun time. I don't see this moon. And it's already past noon. Maybe I need to pick a different... Oh, there's a Korok. I'll go get that Korok and then see if there's another side quest. These side quests are a lot harder than they were yesterday. Oh, what's going on in there? It's a cave. Cave? Well, why are you acting? I'm just giving you your hat back. Caves are good. Caves have bubble gems in them. That is not part of the mission. Tangents. Is this the place? Is this the place? What? Accidents happen now and again. Sometimes just by chance. Did I pass the flint while I was singing Thomas and Friends? Here we go. Oh, wrong. Here we go. Noon. Make it noon. Let me refresh this real quick. Okay. Put this back up. Got it. Wait, why wasn't it? Why wasn't it showing up before? Do I need to make it morning and then let it just run till noon? Maybe that'll be the better option. Oh, okay. I exploded that. Great. Not what I was aiming for. Let's try that again. Flint, 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 flint. What sweet child is doing? Oh no. Alright, I'll make it morning and then just watch it until noon, because making it noon seemed to not have been a good choice. And now we just gotta sit here and wait. Guessing I'll have to take the picture from here. That should do it. Alright, I've taken these off, the patches, and now it is time for a full face mask. I'm going with a little bit of Tony Moly red wine sheet mask. I like sheet masks that have like little faces on them because they're horrifying. And it's really fun. Cause the picture it'll be like a really cute, like panda bear picture, and then you put it on your face, and it's just absolutely horrifying. It looks nothing like the image on the foil. Waiting for noon. Can you believe we're already halfway through 2023? I feel like time has zoomed by. Am I the only person that feels that the year has just like zoomed by? But I can't believe it's already June. Like, it's already June. We're already almost halfway through June. What is in my pocket? Oh, one of my Bluetooth. So before you know it, it's gonna be 2024. It's crazy how much history you've lived through if you're in your 30s and 40s. I mean, if you're alive these days, you've gone through a lot of history, but it's just the amount of history and advancement that we've gone through in the last 30 years is crazy. Like, a lot of our parents hadn't been through so much by the time they were 30 or 20 as kids have nowadays. Like, kids these days, let's see, like, even young adults in their early 20s don't know a world without the mass availability of the internet. Or a time before YouTube, and it's crazy to me. They don't remember, they weren't exposed to things like commercials. There's gonna be a generation of kids that won't even know what ads are. There's gonna be a generation of kids pretty soon that aren't gonna know what a book is. A written book. It feels like it's going to arrive at the place before noon. Is it going to be enough to take a picture from here, or would I have to take that picture from up there? I guess I could do both, just in case. Masks are weird and fun. I wonder if they actually do anything. Or they're just a gimmick. They're sitting here, like, looking ridiculous, and it is just a gimmick, and somebody just made it up. It doesn't actually do anything, and they're just sitting at home on stacks of money, just laughing at all the idiots putting face masks on. Why are you moving so slowly? Oh my god, this is like watching paint dry. Although some paint is more fun to watch than this. Like, have you guys ever used that paint that's like, it changes colors? So that you could tell like where you missed? Come on. Let me take this picture. I keep forgetting that I'm trying to listen to— ooh, that's loud. Jesus Christ. Alright. Oh, it'll count? Hold on. Precision. There. But just in case, I'll take another one after it moves slightly to there. You could fly away with me tonight. You could fly away with me tonight. Take you for a ride. So this is the first one we're actually accomplishing today, like over an hour into the stream. They're a little bit harder, these riddles, today than they were yesterday. And the day before. Excuse me. Standing ovation. Where am I going to? These old men. You look so dumb right now. Yes, I do. I look pretty dumb right now. That's ridiculous. Trying to apologize. Yes, I am. What do you need? Oh. Well, Papa's kind of the one who always handles paper towel. And he already went out today. Has he come back? He came back? And he forgot paper towel? Oh, okay, then I guess we'll get the paper towels when we go get the baby wipes. 30 minutes tops and I'll be done. Hopefully. If the puzzles aren't too hard. It was not easy to find, actually. It was quite by happenstance. You're welcome. It's over now. Take a bow. Pose and get gone. Farah wants to visit all the wells in Hyrule and asked you to tell her the location of any wells that you know. She said she's going to see Lookout Landing. Well, okay. I was wondering where she was because I've hopped into a lot of wells just for this person. Don't tell me you're sorry, 'cause you know. Baby, when I know you're only sorry you got caught. But you put on quite a show, really had me going. Curtains finally closing. But it's over now. Where is the well here? And the award for the best luck goes to you for making me believe. Your speech. Ah! Yes, it is I, Link. The hero of time. Let me show you all the ones that I found so far. Really? It's only been 15? I do have a tool for searching for them, but I don't think it's that important. Because you're literally only giving me 10 rupees for every well. I don't see the point in going through. Maybe eventually, but not currently. Never been before like you, and 1,000 pieces on the floor. Times like these, this world's magic. Let's go up to the universe. Tell your heart to beat again. So breathe it in. Let the shadows roll away. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. No, because then I have to go through the whole, because I've already the whole like canyon. So I've already found 2 of his friends and I have no idea what the 3rd one is. To the ruins. Pokey wants to investigate some ruins where huge statues face each other, however she lost the map. Okay. Healing hand, slippage. So get back up. Wakes up one. Think I'll teleport there. And that should take me pretty close to it, because I'm pretty sure this is where I was yesterday when I stopped following the statues. I'm pretty sure the statues point to where you need to go. Close your eyes and breathe it in. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. You don't live there anymore. Correct. Statue points. Where? Oh, there it is. Let every heartache be a picture that reminds you once I read you the top. Wow, I wish I had the sand shoes. Should have bought those. Everything for your good. Oh, my brother's online. Yeah. Wait, didn't you say he was coming over this weekend? I guess you forgot. I also forgot. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. You don't live there anymore. By the way you sing. No, this is electric guy. Oh. Yeah, thanks. Quite useful you are. What's up there? I feel like when there's anything large like this, there's usually something up there. Wait, where are you pointing towards? Statue? You're pointing in that direction. I should find out what's up there. Is there a statue in there? No. Oh, there is a statue up there. Okay. That's what was up there. Is there a Korok up there? Let's go find out. Tonight. Yeah. No Korok up here? Oh. How odd. Okay, so you're pointing in that direction. Ooh, there's a Korok. No! Don't fall. I want that Korok. I need it to expand my inventory. That was pretty easy. Hey, soul sister. That statue was pointing over here, and this statue is pointing where? Huh. But I see another statue over there. Really? am I using right now? Oh, like the weakest. I win. Oh. You're pointing in this direction now. Where are you trying to tell me to go? Because she's pointing in this direction. And that one, ooh, which way is she pointing at? You're pointing that way. Let's deal with this guy. When you're on the phone. Oh, I don't have any bombs right now. Okay, Amber. Success. All you think about, you got it back when you stop. Ooh. When you say that you love him, and you really know everything that used to matter don't matter no more. My money on my car, flowers, cotton candy. Where is this place then? I feel like the statues are pointing me. Okay, that one was pointing in this direction. But then that one is pointing in that direction. I am confused. Okay, so they're all pointing in that direction. What am I supposed to actually do? Pokey wants to investigate some ruins where huge statues face each other. However, she lost the map that shows the spot. So she's in a tough spot. Okay, so do I just take a picture of it? Of the ruins? The ruins? So the ruins are basically these. Because 3 of them are pointing in this direction. So should I just take pictures of the ruins? And then teleport back to the city. I guess I could do that. Oh wait, can I go down here? Oh! Should I... Oh wait, I don't have any bombs. Alright, Sorry, I didn't notice. I just noticed. It's taken a while to get here. Honestly, I got red pilled by Kevin Samuels. I think there's a lot of us in this space because I had a lot of red pill tendencies, what would be considered red pill tendencies for a while, but I still fell to the dumb stuff of feminist, wokist, leftist agenda that is very popular these days. So I haven't been in this place for, you know, I haven't been this way forever. I unfortunately was dumb for a while, but I had my eyes opened by Kevin Samuels. May his message continue to resonate and wake people up even in his past. I had a moment where I was getting angry, as we're wont to do when people hear the truth for the first time. And then it's like after I was done being angry, I thought about it and I was like, you know what though, he's right. And it wasn't from a clip, because I know, because I was watching Jordan Peterson. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the donation, and I also appreciate the comment. I was watching something by Jordan Peterson. It was back when everybody was going crazy over what he was saying about what was happening in Canada. And I didn't understand why people were so incensed about it. It's like, once you compel speech, you're infringing on the freedom of speech. And I really don't understand why people found that so alien. Like, it's true. So the algorithm suggested Kevin Samuels probably like 3 months before his stream where the Average at Best girl was on, and I watched it every night. I watched this live stream every night. I was watching it, actually. I was watching it live the day that girl was on, the Average at Best girl, and I didn't understand why people got so mad at the clip. I mean, part of it has to do with the fact that they watched the clip instead of watching the whole thing, and the fact that she's the one who admitted that she was average, and he just agreed with her. Like, what was he supposed to do? Like, oh no, girl, you're a 10. She wasn't a 10. She really wasn't. And the question was dumb regardless. Like, the question was really dumb. When do you tell a man about your job? Like, why is that even coming up? That you have businesses and you make money. That's a really weird flex when you're trying to be in a relationship with someone. Those are just things that, to me, those are just things that kind of come up as you're getting to spending time with a person and you're getting to know them, not like, it's not a point of a conversation. What is this? But I'm not crazy, But I'm also Hispanic, so we have a tendency to be a little bit more conservative. And I was born in Dominican Republic, and I lived there until I was 6. How am I supposed to get to the other side? There must be a hole somewhere, but... Oh, I forgot. This is only on Rumble. For all the other platforms, the reason I said thanks to PB is because he donated $5. Greatly appreciated. I was actually talking about you to Sweet Child, and I was telling him, I was like, I have a lawyer follower, and he's in my streams live often, and he's kind of sarcastic sometimes. I kind of raised him that way, so I can't even get mad about it. And he was like, oh, congratulations. I don't get mad about it. I don't know. How could I get mad when I'm the one who's raising him? So, like, the way that he is, it's been my input, largely my input, so that would be, I consider it to be dumb when people get mad at things their kids do and they don't. Is that a channel? Or is that an Instagram? Oh, I'll write it down. Because if I don't write it down, I won't remember. At what you plan. It's a paper. The State of Rumble podcast. You know what I find interesting about content creation that and live streaming that I think a lot of people don't appreciate? What you plan is that live streaming is a lot harder than when you're editing content. Yeah, that's great. Humility. I really appreciate that. And as far as Christianity goes, you gotta believe in something, or you will fall for everything. Ooh, what just happened there? I don't know what just happened there. Ah, that didn't go as planned. You're a phantom. How are you? Ooh. Why are you now both flying like? Can't take it out here. Okay. I really admire people that do live streaming content creation because, and I mean, I'm literally doing it right now. I'm not saying it to like big up myself, but it's just because I've noticed that since we are experiencing a huge deterioration in the spoken language, and obviously by proxy the written language, it is a lot harder to have clear, concise conversation or monologue. It's not really a conversation, it's generally more of a monologue. Than the edited stuff. When you're editing, you get to clean it all up and take all the ums and ahs out, and the parts where you say dumb stuff. Okay, does he do videos on streaming? Because I've been flying by the seat of my pants and kind of just figuring it out as I go along. Trial and error is good, but sometimes it can be really nice to just plug and play. I think plug and play can be a little bit more affordable when you're starting from a place of not necessarily having a lot of money that you could put into an endeavor that's going to take some time if you don't have like a lot of clout or a large following or showing your body, which is just not the way I... Okay, I'll write that down too. Because that would have been great. He probably has information, especially if he's a gamer, that would have been really helpful. I kind of just dived into it. I really need to know how to do that. chat overlays are the things that I'm struggling at the most, because every time I've tried to do it on Streamlabs, I end up messing up my entire stream and looking like the amateur that I am. And I actually prefer being on Rumble, because I know that on a lot of other platforms, a lot of my points of views are gonna get me demonetized. So I had somebody comment on one of my videos like, oh, bring this to YouTube. I'm like, no, YouTube will get mad at me. Like, it was on one of my Rumble rants. And I was like, I can't bring this to YouTube. I'm too small. YouTube will crucify me. Oh, thanks. Yeah, because that's another thing I noticed. I tried to respond to your last chat yesterday? I think it was from yesterday. And it was the last chat that you had said in the live chat, and I didn't realize that I wasn't going to be there. Yeah, Rumble is the only place I mean, technically speaking, I am monetized on everything except YouTube, but Rumble's the only one that's actually accumulating funds at the moment. Because I guess Twitch, it's like you have to have people subscribe to you. I prefer that not to be the case, just because I don't want people to feel obligated to, like, it's not even obligation, it's the proverbial grift, I guess. You know, feeling like you have to constantly just be like asking people for money. I like that about like Rumble and YouTube, where you're just subscribing does a lot with terms of monetization. But I'm also not like, I'm not in a place where I desperately need this to get monetized and have instant success to pay my bills. So that does afford me a certain amount of freedom. Which I genuinely appreciate, even though it comes at the cost of my body basically being geriatric, and haven't been that way since I was like in my early 20s. But you know, that's the military for you. Be messing up your body. I wouldn't change it for the world. I got a lot of benefits out of it. Aw, thank you. I don't know how that works, but I'll take it. How does monthly support work? Am I committed now? Like, do I have to like not give up on this endeavor? I won't give up. I find it really fun. With the exception of the days that I have the charisma of a box of frogs, I genuinely enjoy being here and doing this and doing the Rumble rants. For those not on Rumble, PB just became a monthly supporter. I don't quite know what that means. I'll figure it out eventually, though. PB, what are your thoughts on what I said before about the deterioration of the English language? Oh, okay. That's what that $ is for. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go on that rumblecreator.com and learn more things. Although, if I'm completely honest, and I try to be transparent, I prefer transparency over honesty, because honesty requires you to ask the right questions. If I'm being transparent, I find it fun to fly by the seat of your pants. Oh, thank you. That is awesome. 100% to the streamer? That's great. Does any other platform do that? So I think every other platform takes a cut. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It can be. Because there's a lot of things too that are rather subjective when it comes to the abbreviation of language, especially the shorthand that you find online. What I may think it means, sometimes people will be like, oh, that's not what it means, it means this. And I'm like, oh, okay, well then now I feel aged. Like, back in my day, that's not what it meant. Punctuation is another one. People don't know. I miss punctuation. Oh yeah, no, I don't like, okay, I do substitute some of it, so I do say, when you hear me say, like, I have 0 foxes left to give, like, everybody knows what I mean. I find that people have the misconception that they can turn things off and separate one way they are from the other, and then they want to say like, oh, then they want to apologize for messing it up. If you are consistent in the way that you are, regardless of the environment that you're in, which means that you have to be appropriate for all environments, then you don't have to worry about accidentally messing up. You don't have to worry about slipping up with a cuss word whenever. I don't even say cuss word. I'm really Southern in a lot of things I say because I spent from 17 to 25 I lived in the South, so I'll sometimes sound a little more Southern and say things like cuss instead of curse. You'll find you'll have to apologize less if you're used to using appropriate language in all situations. And I agree, many people do not take that into consideration. And they'll say things like, oh, well, when I'm at work, I don't speak this way, or when I'm in this situation, or when I'm like at church, I don't speak that way. But the problem is that you'll slip up a lot more if you have certain situations where you speak one way and then certain situations where you speak another way. Like the Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no, and it's very hard to do that when you are a different person depending on the situation and the place that you're in. And there's a book that I really like by Lewis Stanley. It's called it's the Giver Quartet, and one of the things they say is precision in language. Yeah, minors are always present, and you always think they're not listening, but kids are always listening. Kids are always listening. There are times where I'm having a conversation with my mom, or when my brother's visiting and I'm having a conversation with him, and I think my son is immersed in coding because he loves coding, and he'll make a comment of what I've just said, and I'm like, you were listening? And he was like, yeah. Like, so if it's something you wouldn't want your kids to know about, kind of got to think about it. That's one of the things that I like about Fresh and Fit, when they say, what you have on your Instagram, would you be okay with that being a reel and going through on the screens on your wedding day? Like, would you genuinely be okay with all the guests at your wedding seeing all the pictures on your Instagram on your wedding day? And a lot of women say they would, but you know that that's not true. Yeah, I think people are really disrespectful towards kids. And I get really, I don't want to say I'm sensitive about it, but I am a little bit sensitive of how disrespectful people are towards children. Yeah. I find it to be a very big cop-out to say that it's up to the parents, because these are also people that aren't necessarily using a specific form of language throughout their entire video. So if a parent watches the first 5 minutes or the first 10 minutes of a video to make sure that it's appropriate for their children, but 30 minutes in you're cussing up a storm, it's kind of disingenuous to say that it's up to the parents. It is up to the parents to watch what their kids, to be cautious of what their kids are interacting with online, but it's also up to the individuals who are putting that content out there. Well, people don't operate in, not all people, they don't operate in standards. They don't like when someone treats them as if what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're gonna do it, then I can do it too. And it's like, oh, we're not the same suddenly. But when it's convenient, we're all the same. And we're not the same. Oh, that's true. I talk to my mom about that all the time. Everybody shouldn't be parents, because there's too many people nowadays that view kids as an accessory. They are not an accessory. They are a sacrifice. And agreed. Too many people don't see that. And it's a cuss word, honestly, to a lot of people when you say having kids is a sacrifice. And they're like, oh, I shouldn't have to sacrifice for my kids. It's like, when I hear somebody say something like that, I want to be severely out of character, disrespectful, and throw hands, because I find that to be, that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. How could you say that? Like, having kids shouldn't be a sacrifice? Bringing up a whole nother human being to be a worthwhile contributor to the future, it's a sacrifice. It is not easy. And their well-being should be the priority, not spoiling them. I think that's something that a lot of people misconstrue. I'm not talking about like spoiling your kids, but giving them a worthwhile experience as they're growing up, and a lot of that is sacrifice. Yeah. I got my son used to, if it wasn't appropriate for his age, like even with like video games and stuff, and he'll say, and now he's so used to it that he doesn't even, I don't even have to say it. So my son doesn't play anything that's not apps for his age. So even with ratings, even though ratings are relatively lax, he won't go see a PG-13 movie. He won't even suggest it. Like, he's not interested, because he'll just say, I'm not 13. And that doesn't come inherently from them. That's not something, that's something that you teach kids. That isn't just something that they wake up one day. Oh, absolutely. Because what they've done now is they've deteriorated the language to the point where people don't have words. They don't actually know the words. Oh, they're not. They're not at all. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that's just... Back in my day, that was not what was considered PG. But just like in general, if he's aware that it's not even rated for his age, he doesn't even want to interact with it. And again, that comes from parenting him. It's a foreign concept these days. I find you run into a lot of people that think kids not only are an accessory, but that they're plug and play. Like, you just get them and they just know things, and they should figure it out on their own, and they just inherently know what's right or wrong, and that's ridiculous to me. We are born as blank slates. Hi. Well, I mean, that's exaggeration, because we are born with instincts to survive, but The way we express ourselves, the way we move through the world, that's learned behavior. Kids don't inherently know what's right and wrong. And when you don't give them proper direction, they get confused. And confusion leads to chaos. So a lot of the chaos in this world is because we're not giving firm instruction, direction, and sticking to what you say. Like, your yes being yes, your no being no. If I tell you bedtime is at 9, bedtime is at 9. If I tell you that you're not using electronics, you're not using electronics. Is it more convenient for them to, you know, have electronics where you don't have to actively parent, which I find so sad? Yeah, it may seem more convenient, but it's not the best in the long run.
Vasak.
Yeah. Because then they have the audacity to say, I don't know where you get that from. Every time my son says something, whether it could be considered appropriate, inappropriate, PC or not PC, I don't say, where do you get that from? I laugh and I say, you get that from me. Because, like, where else is he getting it from? I mean, yeah, he has my dad and my mom, so he does get it from the family unit, but I don't say, where do you get that from? I know where he gets it from. He gets it from me. Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, we don't spend the entire day giving direct instruction to our children. Most of the time we interact with them, they are absorbing what is in their environment, what is in their surroundings, and the way that you move, and the way that you carry yourself, the way that you treat others. That is observed behavior. You don't sit there every single day and tell your child, oh, when you're having a conversation, be respectful but be critical of the information that you're receiving. You know, you don't sit there every single day and guide your child through every single second of life and how they interact with others. A lot of it is just they observe how you treat others. They observe how you treat the wait staff. They observe how you speak to staff when they mess up your order. How you treat your parents, how you treat your siblings if you have them, how you comport yourself and your decorum, and whether you lie to them, whether you keep your promises. These are things that kids absorb from just being in the environment with you. This is a nurture thing. So like if you're constantly telling your kids, oh, we're going to do this, but then you're not going to do it, what are they getting from that? They're not getting that sometimes you can't do the things you say that you're going to do because situations arise. What they're getting from that is, oh, it's okay to lie to your kids. It's okay to lie because my parents tell me this is going to happen all the time, and they don't follow through.
Hey!
And that is something that I tried to be very concise about with my son. And when sometimes he gets frustrated, I remind him, if I've told you that I'm going to do something, I am going to do it. Because if I'm not 100% sure that I can make it happen, I tell him I'm going to try. I don't tell him yes when I don't mean it. Standard, please. That's another thing. I don't understand why people do things to let their kids feel and develop the belief that it's okay to steal. I have gone back with my son in the cart, like ready to go home, with refrigerated and frozen foods in my cart. I have turned myself around and gone all the way back into Walmart because I realized that a candy I had told my son it was okay for him to get was still in his hand and I didn't pay for it. 50 cents. I turned myself around and I went back and bought it. And that is the example that I've set for him. So now he checks me, because sometimes I'll feel lazy over something. We're like, oh, we forgot this in the cart. And I'll be like, oh, do we have to go back? And he'll just look at me and be like, Mommy. And I'm like, all right, let's go back and pay for it. So you have to have that accountability built in from the beginning. And there's no amount of, oh, it's really small, so it doesn't matter, that you should exemplify to your kids. Like, oh, that's just a 50-cent candy. It's not a big deal. You know, Walmart's a big organization. They don't need my 50 cents. It's not about the 50 cents that you're giving to the store or not giving to the store. It's not about capitalism, and it's not about how much money the store may or may not need from you. It's about the example that you're setting to your children, so that they realize that you stand for something and you stand for truth. And truth includes not stealing, because when you steal, you're taking something that doesn't belong to you. So even if it is something like a 50-cent lollipop, the appropriate thing to do is go back and pay for it, because when you don't do that, you don't realize that you're desensitizing your kids to right and wrong. And if you're going to say that it's wrong to steal somebody's wallet, to steal somebody's car, to break into somebody's house and steal from them, you have to also stand by it on the small things. And I think that a lot of people don't pay attention to the fact that it's not just the big things, it's also the small things. And you have to create those habits early.
Vasak! Hey!
And here's the thing, you know what? This has nothing to do with the game. I'm going off on rants, so to all the other streams, my apologies. I'm just having a back and forth from my Rumble live chat. Here's the thing. When you don't have firm standards, you end up in places like what is happening in New York now, where under a certain amount of money, it's okay to steal. That's ridiculous. You know why that's ridiculous? Not just on the moral sense of it being ridiculous to be okay to steal under a certain threshold. It's ridiculous because those of us that are paying are the ones who have to pay for that. Because what is that company going to do when people continuously steal under the threshold, that's allowable? They're going to have to raise the price, because it's going to get to the point where they're having a severe loss and they're going to raise the price. So then those of us that do pay for things have to pay more, because it's a minority of people that are going to be going and stealing, but it's still going to affect the majority of us that are doing the things that are right. So when you do things and when you minimize the importance of something like not stealing, then you end up in this scenario where you're hurting society overall. They definitely are. And if you break it down, so the most recent comment for those of you who aren't on Rumble is the common offenses that are minimalized, such as lie, cheat, and steal, are the gateways to larger offenses. And a lot of things that people do, if you break it all the way down to its roots, like down to the seed of it, forget the roots, down to the seed of it, because the roots grow out of the seed. They are based on lies, which is deceit, cheating, and stealing. Like, there's a lot of more major offenses that if you break it down to the seed of it, it came from a lie, a cheat, or stealing. So that is actually very accurate. And a lot of people want to minimize things, and when you say it's the gateway to something else, they're like, oh, you're exaggerating, that's not the case, when you minimize things, that is one of the first ways that you blind people to the truth of how dangerous something may or may not be. How dangerous it is. They really are. They are forms of deception. And one of the more dangerous things about it is where you start actually deceiving yourself. Oh, I have to take you there? Do I want to do that?
Eh?
Okay. Yeah, it really, because it generally starts small. It's not, most people don't wake up, roll out of bed one day and they're like, I'm going to steal $1,000. It starts small. You know, most people don't wake up and decide one random day, any given day, they're just like, I'm going to defraud whatever system for however hundred thousands of dollars. Things generally start small. Alright, let me check on the map where this thing was. Okay, so it was here. I need one of my pins back. Which one of these pins can I get back? I'll take this one back. Well, I mean, self-deceit is really where it starts. Where am I renting? Oh, I gotta talk to you to rent one of these. As you start, finding ways to justify it to yourself. Because when you... Let's say, in that situation, like with the lollipop, like that was an actual example of something that did happen in real life for us. You start with that, right? And then you say, well, it's only 50 cents. Walmart is a huge corporation. They don't need my money. They rob from other people. They do all these things that are wrong. So it's totally fine if I steal this 50 cents from them. And it starts just that small. And then it's like a snowball. And it just grows from there. So the next thing you know is you'll find you accidentally didn't scan something, but you put it in the bag. And then, you know, the next time it's like, oh, well, this is too expensive anyway. They're overinflating the cost of it, so it's totally fine if I just take it. It starts very small, and then you progressively justify more things as you go on. Wait. Oh, wait. I need to take that person with me. You stay there. I have to get this person.
Eh?
I think you have to look at the sides and then see what's in the middle. How do I need a sled though. Oh, did I not pay attention and rent the wrong kind of thing? Can I add a sled to it though? Oh, I didn't pay for the more expensive one. I need a sleigh seal. Yeah, I think when it comes to things like that, there's a lot of sensationalism, because when you sensationalize things, people click. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you need to drive traffic to your website. So you're gonna overinflate things, you're gonna sensationalize it, you're going to, so one side is gonna make it seem like you're a saint and the other side's gonna make it look like you're a sinner. And the truth is generally somewhere in the middle. Because when you think about it, every side has an agenda. And if you're not open-minded to see the possibility that some things are true and some things are not true, if you don't accept that, if you don't leave room for the possibility that you may be wrong, whatever your position is, You're... Man, that's a problem. How am I gonna get past this small dude? I guess we're dashing. Dash some more. Dash some more, please.
Hi.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. It says defeated on there. Cool.
Hi.
Can he go through the quicksand? When I was going to college to become a teacher, I had a professor say something, and it stuck with me to this day, and I find it to be one of the most important things that... There are many important things, but I find it to be one of the most important things that I received from any of my professors, and that was to always be learning. They said, never stop learning, never think that you've gotten to the point where you know everything you need to know about a topic, never think that the way that you learned, even through me, is the right way. Always leave room for the fact that there's more for you to learn, and... Well, we're here.
Mm?
I'm already there, though. Oh, wait, did you say to the east? Did I just go to the wrong place?
Mm?
Oh. I went to the wrong place.
Mm.
Alright. Well done. I thought this is where I was supposed to go because all those statues were pointing towards the middle, but I guess I was wrong. Let's try that again.
Hi.
So that professor said that, and it stuck with me, and I think that's something that you could apply to everything in life. Like, always be learning. Never think that you're at a place where you don't need to learn anymore, and that what you know doesn't have room to grow.
Hey.
And you know, when it comes to that too, there is one thing that I find, people want to do. They'll say like blanket statements, and they get fanatical and don't give room for some things to be true and some things to not be as true, for some things to be wrong. Cause one of the things I think about when it comes to that, when Trump was like, no TikTok, we're not doing that, and then as soon as he's out of office, it's like, oh, it was crazy, he banned TikTok, that's dumb, and let's get TikTok back. What do you mean? What just happened? And then, go forward a couple of months and it's like, oh, yeah, that is true. And then eventually it's like, oh, now we have to tell people you can't put TikTok on, like, government phones. It should just stay the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to try to find these statues. I unfortunately don't actually know where I'm supposed to go because I went to the wrong place. Oh! I'm supposed to take a picture of that. There's probably a shrine down there.
Hi.
And do you know something else that I like to say, and my youngest brother especially, he gets kind of mad when I say it. He's like, oh, that's an exaggeration. I said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I had the distinct experience in Dominican Republic of seeing what happens to a lot of standing water. And it's disgusting. And when you're not moving, when you're not flowing, when you're not growing, you're standing. You're standing still. When you're standing still, you become stagnant. And stagnant water rots. I don't see any statues. Brought this girl along. I don't even know where I'm going, because I really thought that place that I had just gone was where I was supposed to go, because the statues were like basically all pointing in the same direction. Oh no.
Hey!
I can't see.
Hey!
Oh. Okay. Here we go. A sinkhole. Where?
Hey!
Should I just abandon her in the middle of the desert and be like, sorry. Make your way back home on your own. That's north. Yeah, exactly. Like, even your brain. I think there's a lot of people, well, obviously people are dumb. Too many people are ignorant. Your brain goes through this process of pruning, and a lot of people don't realize this. When you stop learning new things and growing the things that you already know, your brain does something called pruning. And what it does is the areas of your brain that you're not consistently using, your brain is like, I don't need this. This is a waste of energy. The human body is a ridiculously effective machine. It's immensely, immensely efficient. And if you're not using it, it doesn't want it. It wants to get rid of it. Because it's wasting valuable resources.
Hey!
And if you were to look at the cross-sections of brains of people, like, as you age, and it's not necessarily tied to age, but it's like as we age, we tend to spend less time learning new things and enhancing the things we already know. Your brain shrinks over time, and it's shrinking from lack of use. A lot of people don't know that. So that, that old adage, I'm not going to pronounce it right. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's actually kind of true for your brain. Where would this shrine be? Is it if I fall into the sinkhole? What happens if I fall into the sinkhole? Do I just die? Because when I went into the whirly thing in the water, I just found a shrine. So let's see what happens if I go into the sinkhole. Do I just die? Curiouser and curiouser. Falling down the rabbit hole. And for those of you who don't know what that means, that is an Alice in Wonderland reference. Yes, it does atrophy. People don't realize that all parts of your body can atrophy. It's not just limbs or something or things like that. Your brain can also. Your muscles. Oh, that's really dark. It really is. I think a lot of people don't realize that the human body it's like immensely efficient. It is a very efficient machine, and it doesn't like waste. Like, energy is it takes energy as a finite resource, which it kind of is to a certain degree. So it doesn't want. That's also why the body likes homeostasis. That's also why the body, the thing the brain likes most is to not change. That's why it's hard to break habits, because habits are already ingrained, and it's easier to have a habit, to maintain a habit, than to break a habit, because it takes less resources, it takes less effort. And the brain's main directives, aside from the functionality of survival, is also to function as efficiently as possible. Because even if you want to look at things like how organisms evolve, it's really just about being good enough. You don't have to be exceptional. You just have to be good enough to survive. Like, nature doesn't need exceptional. Whoa. That worried me for a second. That went a lot better than I was expecting. Wait, I need that. Yes. I always laugh at myself when I find myself like peeking underneath something as if that's actually going to make a difference, but it's kind of a reflex. I don't know how to not do that. To like look around corners in the game as if I'm actually going to be able to. Get away from me. No. Yay. Tulin coming in clutch every time. This is a lot more fun when you're able to have a conversation. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can monologue all day long. Like, I like to say that I've never met a stranger because I'm entirely too social and extroverted. And I enjoy conversation. The lost art of conversation. Somebody should make that into a book, The Lost Art of Conversation. Eventually we're gonna have a book called The Lost Art of Words. You mean like in general, or as I'm streaming? If you mean in general, yeah, that's just the way I am. If you mean as I'm streaming, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to. Oh, well, no, I still talk a little bit because I will talk the paint off the walls. Live up. And I've been that way since forever. When I was little, we used to live in the Bronx, but our family lived in Queens, in New York, for anyone who doesn't know. Oh, I mean, that's interesting. And we would take the bus from the Bronx all the way to Queens. And for those of you who have never been to New York, that could easily, depending on traffic, be like 1 to 2 hours. And I would talk to people the entire way. I would not sit down. I would just like, I would be standing and going from seat to seat talking to people. I have to get this to open, but it's not opening. Oh wait, what if I have to like ascend? Let's see if that's the case, because I might have to ascend. Yeah, don't, won't your teeth like get too long if you don't do that? Are you? Oh, well, thank you for interacting. I'm bringing you out of your comfort zone. I'm assuming about comfort zone. I shouldn't assume. Because you know what assumptions do. How do I get where I need to go? This puzzle, it's outwitting me. Oh wait, was I supposed to fall? Did I need to fall? Was that conducive to the place I needed to go? Apparently it was. It's like life. Sometimes you avoid the places you're actually supposed to go to. How do I get there? Oh. Thank you, you too. Thank you. I do like Rumble. One of the things I like the most about Rumble is that I find it's a little bit easier to find people that are opening their eyes to how things are getting. And on the day-to-day, I find it a little bit harder to find people to... Okay. I will and you said it was Wednesdays, right? Oh, you mean not any crazy questions? No, I generally don't. I find that to be rather disrespectful to ask crazy questions of people that you don't have that level of trust with. Once you have built a level of trust and rapport with a person, you could try and go with like more crazy questions. But I find that the most appropriate thing is to keep things a little bit superficial in the beginning, because otherwise you're almost imposing on that person a closeness on that person that they don't necessarily want from you. Oh, not as many crazy people on Rumble. I think a lot of people have drank the Kool-Aid, unfortunately. I run into way more people on other platforms that have drank the Kool-Aid, and I'm like, I don't, one of the things, and I should probably cut the Twitch stream because of what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't understand why people found it so controversial for Matt Walsh to make that documentary about what is a woman. I think it's ridiculous that you can add so many people something so basic and they're just like, If I get dug up at some point by an archaeologist, they are going to look at my DNA. They're going to know what I am. So I don't understand why people have such a hard time answering that question. But apparently what I'm saying is blasphemous. Humans are really odd. They're weird. Weird. You know, honestly, I think the deterioration started much earlier than that. Agreed. And there are many reputable doctors that will tell you the same thing, but apparently we're the bad ones. Oh. What happens if I jump into this one? Let's find out. I said this one thing to my brother about this. Because people like to talk a lot about constructs these days and social constructs these days. And hold on. I'm going to pause real quick because I got to figure out how to... I'm going to cut the Twitch and Facebook. I'm going to cut everything except Rumble right now because I'm about to say some really controversial stuff. So if you want to stay on the stream, I would say, how do I get rid of the other streams? How do I cut some of the streams? I see how I can end the YouTube stream, but I'm trying to cut the Twitch stream and the Facebook. Agreed. I think there's a severe... How do I cut some of the streams? No, I don't want to edit that. I want to get rid of some of my streams, but I don't know how to do that. Gosh darn it. I never thought I'd find myself in the situation where I wanted to cut some of the streams. So I didn't even look into if that's even a possibility. Oh well, whatever. I'll just get a strike if I need to get a strike. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I take issue with this situation that you're talking about, PB, because there's a lot of rhetoric about this or that being a social construct, but genderized likes, clothing, toys, that is actually a social construct. So, how can you say that a concept that is actually made up by us, that this color or that color is feminine or masculine, is for girls or boys, that this toy or that toy is for girls or boys, that liking this thing or that thing is for girls or boys, those are all things that we actually made up as, you know, those are actual social constructs. So if assigning gender to hobbies and assigning gender to colors and assigning gender to the topics that you enjoy are actual social constructs, how can you then say that you are something else and you're basing it off of an actual social construct, but you want to say that, like, they'll want to say, like, oh, well, gender is a social construct. But the things that you are saying that make you be in the quote-unquote wrong body, like, okay, why are you, you know, what about you is what you are using as a frame of reference to say that you are not a girl or a boy. Oh, and a lot of people, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people will say, oh, well, these are the hobbies that I like, and these are the colors that I like, and these are the things that I like to play with. But assigning gender to those types of things is a social construct. So how are you fighting a social construct by saying that social constructs are the way that you're identifying that you're not what you are? It's a controversial take, but I just don't understand how you could say that you are something other than what you were born because you like things that were gendered by society. Now, if you're talking about something like, I have a propensity for a more logical thought than emotional thought, okay, I could see that. That is more biological, that's more hormonal, you know, I get it. That is more biological, that's more like evidence-based. I could see that more than, oh, I'm this way because I like this color. Or I like... I like to play with this type of toy. These are the types of, you know, I'm more inclined for I just, call me crazy, but I don't know how you can feel comfortable saying that. You're like, you are something other than what you were born because you like things that are by society being assigned a gender, something that shouldn't have, that's not really gendered. That'd be like saying you're really good at math, so that's why you're... I'm not good. I'm running out of stamina. No, I don't want to drown in the sand. Link, don't die. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm not dying? Ooh. As an adult though, like if those are the choices you want to make, those are the choices you make. Go, you know, you're an adult. But yeah, for children, when it comes to children, I think that's highly destructive. But again, this circles back to the topic that we were discussing earlier, how children are sacred and a lot of people don't see it that way. They don't treat them as with the caution and care than they really should. Because the truth of the matter is that there are a lot of people out in this world that would love to have children that don't have the capacity to. I just don't think, as an adult, your brain is more developed than a child's. So you could make those types of choices as an adult. Like, good for you, do what you want, do you. It's like, you're an adult. You make choices. You should have critical enough thinking to realize that you're gonna have to live with the consequences of your choices. But children don't always have the capacity to see that far ahead. And it's not, because it's not just like 5 years down the road. You're talking about 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road. It's like people who don't save for retirement. They just don't really think about the fact that they're going to be a drain on the system. Or they don't care because they're selfish. Because life is going to happen, and if you don't plan for it, it's going to happen too. It's going to, like, it's just going to happen to you. You're not going to have a lot of input into it because you're... You kind of just got to take it as it comes.
Aww.
Why do I actually have to ask about the sinkhole? I already know that. I already went down into them. And you know, the thing about those things is, like, people will say, like, oh, it's prescription. And I'm like, your point? Just because it's prescription doesn't make it okay. Because there's so many things in life that you can ask scientists, not doctors, like scientists, like researchers. Why does this work? And they don't know. They'll just say, like, oh, well, we tried this and we tried that and this worked. We don't know why it works, but since it does work, we're gonna say that it can be prescribed. That's like... That's dumb. Oh, I did get a scimitar. I should teleport there. Because I actually also have no idea where those statues are, so I should probably find them before I pick up Poppy again. Poppy? However you want to pronounce her name. I should find where those statues are. Oh, is that it? Oh, I see where it is. I saw it on the map. The map just told me where I need to go. But first, let's go deal with this shield and scimitar situation. When it comes to you, I'm never good enough. I can play like a
Basak.
Yep, I got it. Here, take it. Yep. Okay. Let's get to crafting. Take it out of my inventory. Take it. It's yours. I have all of the things. Take it. Proudest of all my heart. Scimitar of the Summon. Okay. Okay.
Ah.
Cool beans. Okay. Can I just come back to you if I break them and I need to make them again? Should they ever be irretrievably lost? Just bring me the materials. Thank you for answering my question. You know the other thing something that's lost? The art of reading for comprehension and you know, effective communication as well. And I bring that up because with the thing about the prescription medication, there have been some studies. There was a study, and I don't have the reference of it right now, but I should find it. I need to have a book with the listings of all and any and all research that I refer to, so that when people ask me, oh, where'd you find that, I can direct them to it. And I don't have this research reference handy, but I will just go ahead and talk about it, where they did some essential questionnaires to parents and children that were struggling with ADHD. And what the doctors found was that the kids got medicated, and they did scans of like the child's brain, and from every measurable perspective, the medication wasn't actually changing anything in the kids. It was changing the environment, because there was this expectation. It's like this very huge placebo effect, basically. There was this expectation by the parents that the kids would change because they were medicated. And then the demeanor changes, the parents, the way that they treat the kids, and the way that things just happen around the home are different. And then the kids would end up behaving better. And it wasn't actually because of the medication. It turned out to be actually to be more correlated to the change in the expectations, treatment, and environment that they had at home from... Oh wait, you could buy stuff here? I didn't know you could buy stuff here. Oh, I'm not buying it. I'm just taking it. Okay. If nobody's saying anything, that means that it's fine. Because if you're taking if you touch something in this game you're not supposed to touch, somebody yells at you. So what was changing was the environment. With the environment changing and improving, then the kids were exhibiting fewer behaviors that were categorized as ADHD. Since when did this get here? Because if you talk to researchers, they didn't actually know how, they couldn't find exactly what it was that the medication was doing that was making it be like good for people. Is this a new one? Or is that the one that I had been jumping into? I think it's a new one. I'll deal with that later. Right now I need a sand seal sled. Because I know where I have to take Pocky to. Pocky sticks. And now I'll go ahead and be candid. Because I'm only human. And I mess up a lot. My sweet child was struggling with some severe anxiety. And after years of assessing the situation, trying meditation, trying different like lifestyle changes, trying many things outside of medication, I finally acquiesced and said, let's give it a try. And I worked extensively with a prescribing doctor, psychiatrist that had a lot of experience with kids and whose go-to was not prescribing. And we opted for a medication that had a good amount of research behind it and not causing severe issues for kids. And we went very low dose, and we started to see if there was improvement. And there was some improvement. And it wasn't like there was a switch. There was no switch. There was a lot of continued work, talking, counseling, retraining my son's frame of mind. And I had to tell him at one point, you know, you are in the habit of anxiety. You are... I didn't see a sinkhole. And once I got him to retrain his brain and gave him a crutch of sorts to help him lean on and get into his mind so that he could believe, essentially, that things could change for the better. That is when he had the most improvement, to the point where we could take him off of the medication and he was fine. He was better because while he had that bit of a crutch, in his mind he believed that he would have less anxiety. And with the coaching of like, hey, okay, now this is happening, so now you're on the anti-anxiety medication, so you should be struggling less with anxiety. And that means that when you're being really anxious in a situation, you are in the habit of anxiety, not that you are suffering from anxiety. And all those things together, we're essentially trained him out of it, where he's not on it, he's not taking it, and he's fine, and he's less anxious, and he can get involved in social situations. And I used the help of the placebo effect, of the idea that he had in his mind that since he was on medication, because it was really the idea of it, if I'm objective about it, if we're frank and objective about it, it was the idea that helped him to get past. Because I tried so many things before going that route, the prescription route. I tried so many things. Meditation, deep breathing, trying to teach him how to reframe his thoughts, and a lot of talk therapy. And we're going here, so let's take this pin out. Let's delete this pin, and put it over here. And all of that by itself wasn't enough. But then the moment that I added something else where he got it into his mind that, okay, he had that little bit of extra help, it really got him through it. And once we took him off of it, it's like the gains are still there. And what just happened? Come on now. What are you doing? Are we stuck right now? Is that what's happening? Do I need to move the sled? Okay, move the sled off. Okay, in this direction, in this direction. Is it ideal? No, I didn't want to have to go that route. So it sucks that we had to go that route for a couple of months, but the talk therapy by itself wasn't doing it. And when we added on to it, it's here, right? We made it. And I'm not advocating for that route for anybody else. That's just the route we ended up taking. And let's see, December, January, February, March, April. Basically, like 5 months of continuing with the talk therapy, giving him strategies on how to get through situations and reframing things, while also letting him have that placebo effect in his own mind. All those things together got him to the point where he is like night and day, thank God, 180 degrees. And now he's able to actively reframe things on his own. Ideally for me, I wish we never would have had to get to that point. And I don't, you know, like, a part of me is sharing that is that I don't have all the answers. I don't get it right every time. I don't purport myself to be someone who just gets it right every time and is always doing the right thing and is always getting it right, because that's not humanly possible. I'm not getting up there that fast enough, am I? How would I even do that? Ascend? Can I use ascend on this? Yeah, that is true. I did lose track of time. How am I supposed to do this? Oh no, I'm running out of time. And stamina. Ah! No, I'm not gonna make it. Let's try this again. Maybe I should make some stamina food. Oh! I wonder if there's a shrine down there. Baby! Let me see if there's a shrine down here where I just jumped into, and then I'll end my stream. He wants me to hurry up and go get paper towels. No, don't fall into the sand. What time is it? Oh, goodness, it's almost 5 o'clock local. Maybe I should just save here, because I just felt really, really dizzy. I should probably go. What's going on over there? How doth one get over there? Seems like the birds are back. Oh. Can I make it? Just nothing. Oh no. That was a good lizard for making potions. Wish I would have caught it. Should change my clothes. I have the distinct suspicion that this is going to take a lot of brain power, and I am feeling not the greatest. I have not eaten today. Not because I'm fasting or anything, and nothing against fasting. I do intermittent fasting sometimes. But just because I totally lost track of time. Time is a social construct. Is that? Should I get rid of one of these shields in favor of this one? No, I won't. No, I want that. Come back. Come back. What should I eat? Oh, my my god, the age-old question that we have such a hard time with. I don't know what I want to eat. I don't have the slightest idea. That's like back in the day. Back in the olden days. Back in my day, in the age of the dinosaurs, as I like to tell my son. When I was married. This is gonna be dumb. This is dumb. But I would get so annoyed when my ex-husband used to say, what do you want to eat? Because I almost never knew what I wanted to eat. And it wasn't something where he was trying to be courteous of like, because I would say, I don't know, what do you want to eat? And then he'd say, I don't know, what do you want to eat? And it was like so frustrating. It's like if I knew what I wanted to eat, I would have just told you what I wanted to eat. Like if I'm asking you, it's like I have no idea. And it wasn't where I was trying to be like annoying and be like, and say I don't know what I want, but I really did know what I want. Like I genuinely had no idea. I don't know what I want to eat. Like the days I know what I want to eat are like days I should probably play the lottery if I did that. I do it sometimes. I'm gonna be transparent. I do it occasionally because once I loaded, I was joking around with my youngest brother and we were like, oh, we should play the lottery because it's so high. And so we put some money on the because here you could do it on the app. It's got an app. Everything has an app these days. And I would end up getting back, not like major wins or anything, nothing like that, but the account wouldn't go to zero basically. Since it wasn't at zero and I'd already loaded that money on there, it would be like a $20 win or something. I'd randomly be like, oh, I'm gonna play again. And then I'd play like 20 and win like 25 or win 20 or win 15, and I would just like, because it was already loaded on there. Oh, my big brother's playing. We're all playing. Well, actually, I don't know if my youngest brother's still playing. Are you hungry? What do you want to eat? Look at my face. Can you give me a better answer than that? Like, I'm asking you because I don't know what I want to eat. So can you please be of some assistance? Oh, that'd be a little bit more careful because then you don't know what you have and what you don't have. And then confusion ensues. I am hungry, but I don't know what I want to eat. That's a horrible idea. That's slightly misleading. That's amazing. Why do you... Oh, I need to go to Walmart. You need me to go to Walmart, don't you? To get BB wipes. Guess what? And no, not chicken butt. I have told you this already, sort of, that I have someone who watches my stream. We got to have a conversation today. Is he watching live? Yes. I'm starving, guys. So I'm actually going to save here, wrap it up, and I don't know if I'm going to stream again later, because when I make the mistake, because it's a mistake, I was being dumb and I shouldn't have done this, of losing track of time without having consumed any kind of food. Unfortunately, the first day, if you know anything about fasting, the first day your body gets pissed off. Even and I'm fat. Let's call a spade. So I have an excess of energy where my body can draw from. But the thing is that day 1 and 2 generally, if you go into a fasting set, your body gets pissed off because it is easier to turn consumed foods that you are eating into energy than it is to go through the process of drawing the fat that is stored in your body. It's dumb because that's what it's there for. Your body stores it to have stores of energy for times when you don't necessarily have food. So it's kind of dumb that it's counterintuitive. Your body be doing stuff that is just like, why do you do that? So because it takes a little bit more effort to turn your fat stores into energy once they have been turned into fat, your body prefers quick energy from food because it is quicker, it is easier. It's not the most efficient because I have found anecdotally from myself the cleaner energy, I call it cleaner, I don't know if it actually is, but the energy from your fat stores, when you have excess fat, which I do have lots, so it's okay for me to do this. I'm not hurting myself and I'm not putting myself into like any kind of dangerous nutritional situation. I have a lot of excess stores of fat. Just put that out there. And if you've never fasted, if that's never something that you've tried, don't go into it without consulting a nutritionist before you go into that. And I say nutritionist because that is their field of specialty. A lot of times a regular doctor is just going to tell you, oh no, don't do that, it's not good for you, go on a diet. Talk to a nutritionist. Don't do it unsupervised if it's the first time you've ever tried it. I've done fasting before. So I don't understand why your body does that, why it would prefer because the human body's lazy. Like, I don't know if y'all know this. The human body is very lazy. It's very lazy. It likes the path of least resistance. So when you go into any type of fasting, day 1, day 2, and sometimes day 3, you feel like trash. Your body doesn't like it and it tries to force you to feel terrible so that you go eat and give it ease of access to energy because it really doesn't want to put in the effort to turn your fat into energy. It's better energy because I genuinely feel, I'm in my fifis about this, and my feels, I have better brain clarity and acuity when I am fasting. My brain is just better when it's using mostly stored energy. So that's why I call it clean energy. It might be anecdotal, it might just be me as far as it being better, cleaner energy that for the body when you are processing the fats that it's already stored in your body. But that has been my anecdotal experience. My brain does better on the energy from my fat stores than the energy it gets from foods. Now that may just be a testament to how problematic our food sources have become. That might be the case. Both things could be true. Now then, when I don't actually prepare myself for fasting with a whole bunch of water and other systems that I put into place to kind of trick my body into making me feel like trash for not eating, I start feeling very sick. I'm not sick. I am aware that my body is just trying to make me feel terrible so that I succumb to It demands that I give it easier energy. So I feel like trash right now. And the problem with this time frame, this window of feeling like trash, which again is usually day 1 to maybe day 3, is that there is a dip in mental acuity. So like my brain is right now being annoying. It is being a bit of a terrorist. And unfortunately, when it comes to this situation, I do negotiate with terrorists because I don't have the time right now, or the freedom to be at a lower capacity physically and mentally. So these are one of those moments where I do acquiesce and negotiate with the terrorist that is my body and brain. So I have to go eat because I am at a diminished capacity right now, since I do want to continue putting out content daily, and also I have errands and adulting to do. I cannot be in diminished capacity mode right now. So I am going to have to go negotiate with this terrorist, acquiesce to it, and feed it easy energy, so that I don't have these moments of just like blankness, don't even know what I'm doing or where I'm going. So with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can find me on Rumble at rumble.com/Natalia Ines. You can find me on the YubTubs at M&J Do Everything. You can find me on Facebook at MyJCB LLC. I'm on Instagram at Natalia_adulting. And twitch.tv/Natalia Ines. I do put my slightly more controversial takes, which I don't even think they're that controversial, but apparently nowadays they are, on Rumble. They will be on my Rumble rants, and yeah, I kind of feel more comfortable putting some of my content exclusively on Rumble. So it is the platform that I do recommend the most if you want to see, because I stream the gameplay to like all of them simultaneously, but there are a lot more Rumble exclusive things that I only put on Rumble. So yeah, check me out on Rumble especially. Thank you so much for PB today. It's a little beaver. His little picture is a little beaver. For the back and forth, it was great to have dialogue instead of just monologue. The thing about monologuing when you're live streaming is that you don't always know where the conversation would be better served going, like in which direction, and that's why it's kind of nicer to have a bit of dialogue than go with just monologuing. And I will be uncharacteristically Hispanic and log off after just one goodbye. So check me out on all the platforms. Again, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys on the next one. I can't guarantee that it'll be today because it's kind of later on in the day, local for me, but I will see you at the latest tomorrow.